Good afternoon to you and happy Friday. How are you doing? Greetings from sunny Dubai. How are you? Where are you in the world? Do give me a thumbs up or say hello. First week of January. Happy New Year to you all. For those of you that I haven't already wished Happy New Year, how has this first week been? Thank you for joining. Give me a thumbs up, give me a wave. Nice to see you. Happy New Year. How has your week been? How is your family? How is your business? How is your team? Do say hello. Let me know how you are. Let me know where in the world you are. This community is growing really fast. I think 650 members now. So do say hello and give me a wave so I know that you're watching. Let me know what you've been working on this week. Has it been a good one? Do tell. This first week of January, have you been able to get back into it quickly, or has it been a little bit of a slow start? Morning MJ, or afternoon I should say. How are you doing? Nice to see you. So I really hope that you've all had a really good week. I've had a very good week. We've been feeling a little bit more at home here in Dubai, and we've actually been looking at apartments, which is very exciting. As you know, we're planning to split our time between London and Dubai this year. But do you know what? For now, I'm just happy to be avoiding the freezing January weather. So I hope that you are keeping warm wherever you are. On the business front, it's been another busy one. I've been focused on some coaching sessions with several new clients that got referred to me kind of over the festive season, and been starting coaching sessions with them this week, which has been really great. We've done some really great work focusing on and getting really clear and putting plans in place, which is something that I really enjoy working on. And also working with some very exciting new initiatives that I'm really looking forward to sharing with you over the next few weeks. So last week we were looking at 3 important questions, particularly important for this time of year, which is a time for reflection, a time of endings and beginnings. We were looking back at 2020 and all that we've learned in the last 12 months. Goodness me, what a roller coaster ride it's been. And also then looking forward to what we want to focus on in 2021. You can find a recording of that live in the group units, along with all of the other lives every single week. They're recorded and they're organised there in the units so that you can find them easily. I thought I'd start today with sharing with you a few of my key learnings from 2020, and let me know what resonates with you, and let me know some of yours. My key learnings from 2020. Change is the only constant. There are opportunities everywhere. Never underestimate how important hugging is. Empower my clients and they will always thrive. Close one door so that another can open. Trust myself. Everything I want is on the other side of fear. Never forget how fortunate I am. Keep showing up regardless. And clarity is everything. So those are my key learnings from the last 12 months. What are yours? Do let me know. As you know, I tend to take my cues from you in terms of what you would find helpful for me to cover during these weekly lives. So sometimes I might reflect on something or think about a past experience that I've had and take those learnings from those past experiences or those reflections to share with you. Sometimes I'll share things from my book or from my work with different clients, but most often these lives come from conversations, questions and requests that I get from all of you in this wonderful community. So tell me, where are you stuck? What questions do you have? What challenges are you facing? What would help you take your business up to that next level? MJ is saying Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Lots of other people joining now. Give me a wave. Say hello. We are yeah, just saying hello and reflecting a little bit on last year and looking forward to next year. And of course, today we're going to be looking at flexibility. So for those of you that have read or listened to my book, you'll know that flexibility is one of the key themes of the book and also is a chapter of the book. But what does it really mean for you, and how do you use it in your life and also in your business? When so many people are talking about survival or pivoting, and how do you get that balance right then between consistency and flexibility? Flexibility, in my view, is absolutely essential. The old maxim tells us to change or die. And there was a lot of pressure on us all, right, to move fast last year when the world went even more crazy than it already was. We all remember that. But that pressure for change that we all felt, all of us in many different ways, but I know that we all felt that pressure to change. That feeling that we must do something, that we must change, that we must take action, that we must maybe pivot. It can be really overwhelming, and many of my clients shared that feeling with me, that kind of that pressure that we put on ourselves, but also that we feel from our teams, from our customers, from our colleagues, just from life really. Oh, you know, the world is changing, so we must change too. People, of course, deal with stress and overwhelm in many, many different ways, and I talk about that a lot in these lives. And, you know, some people will kind of internalize and withdraw when something challenging happens, and others prefer to kind of stamp their feet and let the whole world know that they're not very happy. But when you own a business, of course, then your behaviour and the way that you choose to respond to those things that are happening around you has a very direct impact on your team, on your customers, on your suppliers, on the people that are around you. And so it's really important to think about how we are responding to this change and the decisions that we make. And if you find yourself procrastinating, if you're finding it difficult to make decisions, then flexibility is already becoming a problem for you. And that is usually due to overwhelm and or not being clear enough. The problem with the lack of flexibility is that you're effectively stuck, right? And as a business owner, that's really dangerous. Best case scenario is that opportunities are just passing you by, but the worst case scenario is actually that your business might be failing because you are stuck. I'm just going to pause a second and look at some of the comments here. So a few people saying Happy New Year, Andrew. Hope 2021 is a great year for the whole world. I think we can all echo that. So MJ is saying, mine is when in quicksand I tend to stand still. When quicksand I tend to stand still. But it's the starting again that you're struggling with, how to start when you've lost your rhythm. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point, MJ. And I think this time of year, although it's wonderful in terms of being able to reflect and pause, it can be quite difficult to get back into that rhythm, right? And I'm going to speak a little bit about that in a second. A few more comments coming in, but I'm just going to continue now talking about flexibility, and I'll come back to some of your comments in a second. So flexibility is strongly linked to resilience, which, as you know, is also something that is fundamental to all the work that I do, and I think it's really fundamental to us as business owners. And in fact, resilience is actually the R in my real model, and we are called real entrepreneurs for many reasons, and that is one of them, because resilience is really at the core of what it means to be a business owner. And Dr. Jocelyn Sellin, who is an expert in resilience and actually a member of this community, she says that resilience is a flexibility of thinking, behaving, and emotions under stress. Essentially, the ability to bounce back after a stressful event, and goodness me, we've had a few of those in the last 12 months. But learning how to control our emotions and our mental state. It definitely helps to increase our resilience, and that's one of the things that I work with my clients on. And recognizing then how we're reacting in certain situations, if you like, kind of what's triggering us, helps us to increase our self-control and also to be more considerate both to ourselves and those people around us. Also looking for solutions rather than sort of focusing on those problems and catastrophizing is a way of staying centered and staying in control rather than that feeling of overwhelm. So, as you know, I believe that consistency is really, really important, and I talk about that a lot. You know, when everybody is kind of jostling to pivot, what I urged you all to do last year is to stand strong and to stand tall. Yes, be alert and be aware of your market, of course, and what your market is telling you, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That has been my advice. That was my advice for the whole of last year, and I think continuing into this year. It's about consistency as much as it is about flexibility. And although consistency and flexibility might actually feel like opposites, they might feel like they're kind of opposed to each other. Actually, I would argue that they are two sides of the same coin, a yin and a yang, if you like. We need a balance of both consistency and flexibility to be happy and to be successful. And that's because the clearer that you can get about what it is that you want, the more you are able to see those different options that are available to you. And the more organised you are, the more headspace you can give yourself to consider those options. So first, let's get some clarity going. At this time of year, many of us spend time reflecting, and I shared with you some of my reflections and my learnings earlier. So did you see that I posted just a couple of days ago, I think it was, in this group, I posted a Wheel of Life. Now, this is a really simple but really powerful tool that I would definitely recommend you take a look at, particularly at this time of year. I mean, it's a powerful tool at any time of year, but I think particularly right now at this time of endings and beginnings, as I say, looking at that Wheel of Life again, or for the first time for some of you, it helps you evaluate where you are in the different areas of your life, and crucially, what areas of your life you want to focus on. What areas do you really want to focus on this year, and where do you want to be in those different areas? It just helps you focus, because that whole question, what do you want, I know is a completely overwhelming and challenging question. I've always struggled with that throughout my life, particularly early on in my life. I really struggled with that question, you know, particularly in a kind of a career context. You know, what do you want to be in 5 years' time? I found that really, really difficult. So knowing what we really want actually is, I believe, one of the great challenges of our lives. And so the Wheel of Life is definitely a way to help us focus that question and break it up, if you like. You know, I like to make things simple into bite-sized chunks, so I would definitely recommend that you take a look at that. I recommend that you spend some time working through that and asking yourself what is really important to you and what is really important to you this year. And then, of course, once we have a little bit more clarity, then we come on to planning. Once we know where we're going, then we can make a plan, right? And flexibility is absolutely key to planning. Any plan is out of date as soon as you finish it. And so a lot of people say, well, what's the point in making a plan then? But the secret is the value in making a plan is not so much in the actual plan, but it's in the process of planning. It's in the questions that we ask ourselves. It's in the decisions that we make. It's in the priorities and the kind of trade-offs that we make. That is the magic in planning. So it's very much the process of planning, which is actually even more important than that final plan. And the trick here with planning and what you're trying to plan is you're actually looking to reduce the cognitive load as much as possible, which is, of course, just a fancy way of saying don't strain your brain too much. Put things in your calendar, plan things out, build in routines, take away some of those decisions, get into a routine. So MJ, you were talking earlier on about finding it difficult to get back into a rhythm. It's about making the decisions, separating those decisions from the doing. So let me explain that. This is something that I share with my clients all the time. It's such an important trick. Separate out the deciding from the doing. Now, what do I mean by that? It sounds like such a simple thing. So if you're getting hung up on, let's say social media, which I know a lot of people do, social media content creation, whatever it might be, instead of deciding what it is that you're going to do and then making yourself do it, diarise a bit of time to decide and a bit of time separately to do. They're different energies, deciding and doing. And so I know that sounds like a simple thing, but if you don't believe me, just try it. So set aside some time to decide what it is that you're going to create, and then write down those notes in, if you like, in the calendar entry for when you're going to do. And then when it comes to the doing, you don't have to think about it because you've already decided, just do it. Other examples might be if you want to go to the gym on a regular basis, and you wake up in the morning and you have that decision to make, am I going to go to the gym, yes or no? Try and take away that decision. Pack your bag the night before. Maybe that's not a great example. We can't go to the gym at the moment. Decide what we're going to do the night before is what I'm trying to say. And then in the morning, you just wake up and you just do it. Food, a lot of people find that very difficult, so they get to mealtime, they're too hungry, and they're trying to decide what it is to eat, and then we make poor choices. So make a meal plan, maybe once a week, decide what you're going to eat, what you're going to cook, and then when it comes to doing it, you can just do it. So divide the decision, separate the decision from the doing. That's my top tip when it comes to planning. So put some things in your calendar. I would definitely recommend that you do that. It works really well for me. For example, I want to do something about my physical health every single day, and so I have a recurring calendar entry every single day of the week, 6 o'clock in the morning, for an hour health. Now, I don't do my running or my exercise or my boxing at 6 o'clock in the morning every day. No. But what it means is that when I look at my calendar and I'm looking at my calls and I'm looking at my coaching sessions and I'm looking at the different things that I need to do, I'm asking myself, where am I slotting that health slot in? Is it going to stay at 6 o'clock in the morning, or am I going to put it somewhere else? It means you don't forget it. It means that it's not a decision. Am I going to do it? Yes or no? It's just a question of where it's going to be in the day. So pick a few things, so put things in your calendar, build up some routines and take away all of those decisions, and that will take away as many of those decisions as you can, and that will really help you get into a routine. The other thing that I would say is pick a few things that you want to do well. And plan for those, plan for consistency, then you can add more. So we're always trying to do so many things, and particularly if you're struggling to get into a routine, get into a rhythm, pick a few things, pick one thing that you really want to do well, do that, and then add another thing. So for example, I talked about social media earlier on. For example, if you want to be more consistent on social media, don't make a huge complicated plan. You know the kind of plan I mean, right, with all the different channels and all the different kinds of content and all of that, and you know that you're not going to stick to it. Maybe you stick to it for a week, but don't make it so complicated. Pick one channel and do that well. Focus on one thing and do that well, and then you can diversify. I see that Paula has joined us. Hi, Paula. And for example, Paula in her group, in her amazing project, which is called Me Infinity, she decided that she was going to go live at 1 o'clock every single day. One thing at 1 o'clock. It's a decision. She doesn't even need to decide whether she's going to do that or not. She just does that every single day. She's showing up, sharing one top tip for Me Infinity. If you are not involved already, I can definitely recommend it. Check it out. So pick one thing and do it well. Plan for consistency, and that will give you the flexibility, yin and yang. My top tips for staying flexible are: focus on what's important to you. What are your core values? Plan ahead, plan for consistency. Be open to new ways of doing things. Develop your skills and knowledge. Be optimistic, stay calm, focus on what you can control, and have a strong support network and ask for help when you need it. As I told you last week, the one thing that I want for myself and for each and every one of you is that we ask ourselves better questions, that we seek clarity in what we want rather than obsessing about how to get there. Those are some of my thoughts about flexibility and what does it really mean in practical terms. Let me know your questions, your comments. What does flexibility mean to you? What are you struggling with? What's your next step in life or in business? What do you need to make you feel more confident? I'm going to close up today's live with 2 quotes about flexibility and about learning. So the first one is from an American author. His name is Brian Herbert. And he says, the capacity to learn is a gift, the ability to learn is a skill, and the willingness to learn is a choice. And the second quote for today is from the great life coach, Tony Robbins. Stay committed to your decisions, but stay flexible in your approach. And as I pass over to you for today, that's what I want you to take away. What is the end that you seek? What is the result? What is the goal? Put your energy into getting really clear about that. But allow yourself to do things your way. Yes, by all means, learn from me, learn from others. But when you synthesize all of that learning, when you bring it inside of you, what comes out must be congruent with you. It must work for you. Flexibility ultimately means adapting to the world around you so that it works for you. So please focus on listening to yourself and ask yourself, what do you need so that you can spend more time in your flow? And don't forget that the opposite of flow is friction. So if things aren't really working, then take a step back and focus on clarity. Get some objective input, hire the services of a business coach, take some time to look at what you're doing and where an easier path would start from and where it might lead to. Ask yourself, what would a business that really works for me look like? So do let me know your thoughts and questions on this or any other topic relating to how to simplify, grow and enjoy your business. What area of business would you like me to speak about next? I'm so looking forward to a very special year ahead for you and for your business. If you haven't already claimed your free copy of my book, The Real Entrepreneur, you can check it out at therealentrepreneur.book.com. And if you prefer an Audible or a Kindle version, you can find those on Amazon. I do hope that you have a really lovely weekend. Whatever you're doing and whoever you're doing it with, I wish you a happy and peaceful time. And as always, if you want to talk, you know where I am. Please remember to be where you are in the journey. You don't need to know it all, and you definitely don't have to do it all. Take care, stay safe, and keep in touch. Bye for now.